People hear cut sugar and immediately think pain, deprivation, and misery. But what most people don't realize is this: when you remove sugar, your body doesn't panic, it adapts. Biggest mistake people make is thinking everything happens at once. It doesn't. The body changes in phases. I want to walk you through what actually happens in the body when sugar is removed. Not in theory, but in real time, over a 2-week period. So here on this board, I have what happens when you cut sugar for 14 days, but we're gonna break it out into 3 sections: days 1 to 3, days 4 to 7, and days 8 to 14. The first few days are the hardest, and that's normal. Your body is used to running on sugar. So when it's removed, cravings show up. Basically, days 1 to 3, this is where fuel starts to switch. Your body starts adapting to lower carbohydrates. Obviously, you're gonna have some issues, cravings, energy dips, and the blood sugars start trying to regulate. So days 1 to 3, obviously you see a little bit of down. But when you get into days 4 through 7, you start to see your appetite decrease because your blood sugar is becoming more stable. You're gonna notice, once again, your hunger stabilizes because you're not having swings in your blood sugar. Water weight typically comes off, and just so you guys know, for every 1 gram of glycogen, it basically stores 2.7 grams of water. All we know is more carbs equal more water, less carbohydrates equal less water. So you do see some water weight drop when you first start. A lot of it typically happens in the first 3 days, and then a little bit over time as you go. And last but not least, mental clarity is much sharper throughout the day. You're not having those swings in blood sugar. Days 4 through 7, most people notice something interesting. They're not thinking about food all day anymore. So now let's talk about days 8 through 14. A lot of times you'll start seeing more fat loss, not as much water loss because obviously the carbohydrates have stabilized. Inflammation actually starts to go down, less carbohydrates, less circulating sugar. Mood and focus is definitely improved at this point. Blood sugar's super stable, you're clear, you're sharp, you're focused. And then last but not least, your energy is super stable. It's much more improved. You're not eating carbohydrates and sugar, so you're not getting the blood sugar swing up, which is fine, but then the drop that happens thereafter. So you're gonna notice your energy throughout the day is super consistent and stable. This is where the benefits really compound. You're no longer just losing water, you're improving metabolic efficiency. Everything we just talked about comes down to one core concept. Your body switches from using sugar to using fat within that 3-day period, which is what you want. Stable blood sugar, more fat loss, mental clarity, you name it. When sugar is removed, the body shifts its primary fuel source. Instead of quick spikes and crashes, it begins relying on stored fat for energy. And just so you know, 1 pound of fat provides around 3,500 calories of energy to the body. So the more fat you have, the more energy your system can pull from to be able to survive. So when you're having sugar or you're having blood sugar spikes, your blood sugar goes up, your body will use the carbohydrate, blood sugar dips, you have a crash, you're tired, you're lethargic. After a couple days in that 4 to 7 range, now you're solely using fat for energy. So your blood sugar is consistent, stable, and your energy levels are gonna be the same. This is why people feel less hungry, less tired, and more mentally clear throughout the day. Fat is a more stable fuel source than sugar. So now let's talk about cravings, because this surprises most people. When you eat sugar, your blood sugar spikes. Insulin rushes to bring it down. When your blood sugar drops, the brain asks for more sugar, which leads to cravings. So when sugar is removed, that cycle breaks. Your blood sugar stabilizes, and cravings, they naturally fade. So now let's recap what happens when you cut sugar for 14 days when it comes to your metabolism, your brain, and your body. When it comes to metabolism, you're gonna notice you're gonna have much more improved appetite control. You're gonna have way improved insulin sensitivity, carbohydrate metabolism, and you're gonna be able to burn more fat with less sugar and less carbohydrates in your system. When it comes to a brain level, you're gonna notice an increased focus, mental clarity, your mood's gonna be improved, and your energy levels are gonna be up, consistent, and stable. Last but not least, let's talk about what happens in the body when you reduce sugar. Most people do notice a decrease in inflammation. A lot of times when you have uncontrolled sugar, sugar feeds inflammation. Obviously, we know inflammation feeds a lot of issues or disease processes in the system. A lot of people report less water retention. Once again, going back to talking about for every gram of carbohydrate or glycogen that's stored, you pull 2.7 to 3 grams of water. So by eating less sugar, less carbs, you hold less water weight. And then the liver actually works better. The liver fat or the potential for a fatty liver goes down quite a bit. So all in all, decreased inflammation, water retention, and the chance for a fatty liver. This is why people say their clothes fit differently. Their face looks much leaner and their brain feels sharper even before major weight loss shows up. Feeling a little bit off the first few days doesn't mean something's wrong. It means your body is adapting, and adaptation is how health improves. So if you remove sugar for 14 days, here's the truth. You don't lose energy, you stabilize it. You don't starve, you help regulate hunger. And you don't break your metabolism, you retrain it. And once your body remembers how to use fat for fuel, you're no longer controlled by constant cravings. You don't need perfection, and you don't need extremes. You just need to give your body enough time to adapt. Within 14 days, you'll feel a difference.